What's up, everybody? Spirit with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. We are back on our, whatever we're calling this, pseudo Star Wars Star Destroyer build thingy-mabobber. That's the official name, tentatively. So, I did some more work off camera. I'm thinking we're getting close. I'm not rubber stamping it yet, but I think we're getting close to the final back, neck, etc. design. Enough that I might even duplicate on the other side after this episode and I get some feedback. So, I've kind of given up on the whole making this shape mesh together. It's just not going to happen. At least not in my opinion. I've tried a bunch of different ways and it's just not working. So I took some feedback from the comments from last episode. Thank you all who participated for that. But I'll admit I used pieces of most everybody's idea and kind of tried to experiment with different ways it could work, so on and so forth. And then ultimately kind of like tweak it and make it my own. So the first step I did was I extended out the ridge here too before starting a descent, and this gave me a little bit more room to work with because these are three block wide or long. So if I did this one and then did the ramp was going to run into this section, which would then cause yet again another blending issue. So I went ahead and extended this out by one, then started the cascade downward. Now this has caused another problem over here that I'll get to in a second. The next step was I got rid of this section here and went up to the top and decided to start from the top down because I started to fill this in and then realized I hadn't come out far enough if I wanted this shape to go up to the top. So I did that. Then I ran into this unfortunate section, which pretty much I could not find a good blend for. I tried really, really hard to do, let's see, what hotbar is it? Here we go. To do something like this, I'll do it on this one edge here, you know, kind of thing, and then I need another, no, it doesn't matter. There we go. And then do like a row with a straight block and then kind of blend this in and taper it and then have this be the final edge, but it just did not look right. It just didn't work very well at all. So I scrapped that and kind of just got fed up with it and was like, you know what, I'm just doing a straight line. So I did a straight line and then I couldn't blend this in, so I said, you know what, I'm tired, let's just try this. And I did a cutoff point right here, as you can kind of see, and I just did a straight block, like a standard heavy armor block, to make kind of an attachment point. Not my first instinct, like it wasn't my favorite idea, but realistically, this neck and stuff has been taking me way too long to iron out, so I'm kind of at this point like, yeah, this is fine, this'll work, we're good, we're done. I mean, I'm not opposed, I haven't done the other side yet, because I'm not opposed to changing it, but until I got more feedback from some fresh eyes, this was kind of the best idea I could come up with. And then because the shape just kept going, I just continued it around, realized it would perfectly line up with this edge here. Now, some of you may, if you're eagle-eyed, notice that this cuts out the second row here. You can see it under here where there's still a second row. This is actually a good thing in a way, because it opens up the cockpit a bit more. So viewing it from this side, I've already taken out the unnecessary blocks. Now this isn't decorative, obviously, I mean it looks horrible inside here, but this is what's absolutely necessary for this to work. I'm going to leave that block there because I might leave it there anyway. So in theory, we could actually take this whole row here out and put in just straight block. Now it doesn't necessarily need to be heavy block, as it is now secured under the hull So we don't actually need this to be heavy. We could change it to standard for coloring purposes. Also, I would like, if anyone knows, this isn't necessarily a have to, I could always look this up myself, but we're using heavy block ramps and we're using heavy block, basically for defense. Now granted, in a survival aspect, this is becoming a late game ship just because of how much steel you would need. I mean, this is just going to be ridiculous of how much metal you would need just for the hull, because it's all heavy block. All of this is heavy block. Granted, it could probably take a pounding, but it's expensive just in metal. Like, I don't even know about the other materials. But my question is, there's supposed to be a modded block that takes heavy armor and makes it not camo, because I gotta be honest, I hate the camo so much. It doesn't blend well with any of the other metals, like the heavy armor ramps or anything. Everything else is not camo. So it really drives me nuts. My question is, if I loaded that mod in, I wonder if it would alter the heavy block, or if it would create a new heavy block that I would have to replace everything with, which would really suck. So I don't know if I want to do that or not. But if it's just a replacement, that would be awesome, and I'll probably have that in the next episode. Okay, now moving on. We're going to work our way around to the front. So obviously, we've still got the same shape going here that we always did. It kind of cuts up and then angles down. So I kept this going and tried to stagger it out. Now here's the problem, is this section right in here. And pretty much just for the sake of demonstration, I will show you why. I kind of did it about 2 ramps out for every section, right? Every layer, rather. But if I do that, you can already see I'm going to end up out here, which overlaps the hull, which, not cool. I mean, there's no air gap, so it would technically work, but ew, it looks gross. So this right there is the closest I can get it to the edge. Now I can do 2 things. I can do an angle here, which changes kind of what I'd like to do with the rest of this, but I can also do this block, which I've been experimenting more with on this build than any other build ever, which basically is kind of like an angle, but it ends. It ends on a flat edge, so there's no need to kind of curve or taper like you have to up here, where you have to have a ramp or something to connect the shape. Personally, I'm mixed on this, because I really don't like how this looks. It's very choppy. It's like, and, you know, then it just stops, and then this wraps around, and I don't like it. I don't. But realistically, I don't really know what else to do with it. So I'm open to suggestions for this rounded edge here. And just to nip a few things in the butt before someone suggests using, like, the standard shape blocks, because I'm sure that might be a thing, like, use the smaller ones and kind of work your way around. I've learned the hard way, these ramp shapes do not mesh well. You have to use very specific adapting blocks for the ramps to meet with the standard dimensions. Yeah, that. Now, for this, I don't know if you could do this edge and wrap it in normal. That's the other thing. This kind of ends the shape with this flat edge here. And I kind of wanted to do another row of ramps just to give it a nice taper into the hull. It just doesn't look like it wants to go. So I'm open to suggestions there. And then up here, I was having a hard time finding a way to cut this off, so again I opted for just a straight edge by adding a corner. Now this one I'm more sold on. It doesn't look as drastically disconnected as this down here does. This one actually kind of looks like it blends fairly well. And then again, using a straight edge and then some curves here, it kind of looks like it meshes into the neck. So on a whole, it's actually coming along pretty well. Like the proportions and everything, it's not perfect and it's nowhere near the exact replica or anything of a Star Destroyer, but the ratios and everything are kind of sort of about right. I mean, relatively. Given that I am no expert of building or aesthetics or symmetry or any of that crap. I'm getting to where I'm pretty happy with this. This is coming along nicely. But we've still got a couple little tiny edges and things that we need to kind of iron out. So I'm open to suggestions for mainly here is what I kind of want to know about, but also just the overall appeal, if there's other shapes, ideas, things we could go with. But I'm pretty sure, even though there's a few edges I'm not a fan of, like this drop right into it type of shape, I think it works. And honestly, if we keep working on this any longer, it's going to take forever. So, I'm not really wanting to do that. Now, there is one other issue here that I just now realized while I'm talking about this, and that's this. We didn't build the piston over here like we did on the other side. And that could be an issue. And I say this because, well, let's count it out real quick. We've got at least 3. Actually, you know what? I haven't technically done anything on this build. I made a clean save before I did anything. So, the maglock is gone. The piston still works, by the way, so the maglock was the source of that issue. Now, let's go ahead and get rid of these 3 there and leave just a 3x3 grid right above the conveyor here that attaches to this last solar panel, or solar farm. What are these called? Good grief, I can never get these right. It's on my hotbar somewhere. Oh, wait, I'll just use a welder. Oxygen farm. I always call them solar farms or something else. There's another one I get mixed up with it, but I never call it the right thing. It's oxygen farm. Okay, let's bring it back in. So far, there doesn't seem to be a problem. Now, let's do a really bad test. And what I mean by bad is really, really close to the edge. Let's not use... I can't build off of that? Well, that's new. Or is that new? Have I just been spacing out this whole time and you couldn't build on those? Because in that case, whoops. Ooh. Oh, I see. Well, I think I see. Let's test this theory here. We're going to extend that out. Let's see if we can build now. Okay. Okay, so we're going to need... I know I have them in the bar, I just don't remember which one I used. I think for this one, we just used the offset on the bottom. I think. Oh gosh. I can never get these right. Ah, there we go. Okay. So let's do 1, 2, 3. So that's a 4x3. We're gonna bring this back. There shouldn't be a problem there. My question is, will I be able to build here? Okay. So that's it. Okay, so all of that in heavy armor is buildable, essentially. Now, let's try something else, a little more risky. Okay, so that won't let me build on it. Okay, so we need a 4x3 grid of these heavy armor blocks in order for this solar oxygen farm piston array to work. And we've got... Now, wait a minute. Why? Oh, I took out a row and changed the shape, didn't I? I did, because that's blast doors. Okay. So we're going to need 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. Okay, and we'll get rid of this last one here under this. Now, this still should have the offset on the bottom. It looks like it does. So let's do a 4x3, like so. And that should be good for that one. Oh, wait, I messed that up. This one's supposed to be this two-edged one. We want the offset on the bottom. it's always hard for me to tell which edge has the offset on these. There we go. So these first three, we need like this, so that they don't hit the blocks there. These, I think, are just standard blast doors. Yeah, okay. Oops, ran into the wall. Don't do that. And I'm not doing the piston part right away. I'm just recreating this so that we can work with it. Pretty much so for the remainder of the hull building, I'll know we've already got it down pat. Alright, and this one we had to use these, I feel like. Let's place the two there and then go double check. It should be. Yeah, these two are offset by the top. And then I believe the next row... Oh, wait, I'm a row off. Dang it. Okay. Actually, I'm going to really quick pause it and replicate this. I don't really know why I was spending all this time working on it, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, well, I think I've replicated everything pretty much the way I had it over here. Oh, that scared me for a minute. It's not extended. I thought I left it extended, so I was like, wait a minute, where'd it go? I'm pretty sure everything is the same, which, I gotta admit, pretty cool, in my opinion. I thought that was really relatively clever. I did have to dig myself a little bit of a hole here in order to get in and out. I don't have a good access point, but I do have a piston set up for ease of use, so I think everything's replicated to the letter. If it's not, we're about to blow some stuff up. Ooh, something happened. See that? That's not good. Okay. Well, I don't think it's good anyway. Well, extended okay. Let me go ahead and take that out. I don't know if that's there or not on that side now that I think about it. Nope, I removed the corner and the one in front of that. That's good to know, because I about broke stuff. So let's get rid of that. Actually, I don't really need this here. It was just a layer of protection for the gyroscopes. Awesome. Let's see if it's all nice and flush. I'm missing top things. Those must have busted a second ago. Everything looks good, so we're gonna do... This is another tricky thing. You have to make sure that you're building it on the actual oxygen farm and not the blast door block. I probably mentioned that at some point when I was actually building this on the other side, but you know. Alright, cool. So we finally replicated it on both sides. Whew. That's done. Okay. Now the only thing is I do need to match whatever I did over here. Oh, I haven't done I haven't done anything over there. Well, that makes my job over here a lot easier. I have nothing to compare to. Okay, so that should work. I took these ramps out in order to get to it. Let's replace that. There we go. Alright. So both the right and the left oxygen farm arrays are set up. So now we can breathe just off the sun, which is really cool. Though, like I said, this was supposed to be kind of an all-in-one ship. And unfortunately, well, not really unfortunately, but kind of unfortunately, I should say, it's kind of turning into a, like an endgame ship just because of all the materials you would need to build some of this stuff. Though, I suppose this theory right here, I suppose you could pretty much implement it, I'm tired, leave me alone please, into any V-shaped or any side panel array type structure of a ship. I mean, you could do that on any ship really. but we're finally getting it to kind of incorporate into the overall design of the hull, which is kind of cool. Now, I know for a fact, because I'm a Star Wars fan by a lot, that the Star Destroyers had the two little ball-shaped shield generators up on top of the, what I call the Hammerhead Bridge. I've thought about this a while, and I'm still not 100% sure on two things. A, how to implement it. B, what block to use, because you could do custom shapes with, you know, ramps and curve blocks and things like that, but originally I had something a little bit different in mind, and I can kind of clear this hotbar because we've decided we're not using that cockpit. I think it's still in here somewhere. There used to be, it may not be part of the mod pack anymore, because I know the mods have changed here and there, but there used to be the ion cannon turret thing, or at least it, oh wait, no, it wasn't technically an ion cannon turret, I don't think. Maybe it was. Dang it, I don't remember how it was set up. But it was part of the S-Series mod, like, I forget the mod developer behind that, but it's, all the mods are usually labeled like this, S- something. And there used to be a turret that was basically a ripoff of the ion cannon from Hoth. I don't know if it was exactly a ripoff, or if it just happened to look that way. There it is. What are you? It wasn't from the S ones, I don't think. Ion cannon. Why did it come up with ion then? That's weird. And it's not available for small ships. Okay, so just for the example of, in case you haven't seen this before, I'm just going to throw this out here real quick, just so you can see what I was thinking. I don't know how big of a block this is, actually. Okay, let's just go that route. There you go. So originally I was thinking of having these take the place of the shield generators on the Hammerhead, because they would still have the ball shape, but they would be ion turrets, which I was thinking would be awesome. But apparently they're only for the large ship grid, so that's out. Goodbye that theory. So yeah, in that regard, I'm not really sure what to use. Now, I do have a shield mod in here somewhere. Large ship. I thought I had shields in here. There's supposed to be a shield block or something. Ship-mounted sniper. What? That's interesting. And different. Large ship cannon turret. So yeah, not really sure what to put there now. Originally that was what I was going to put there, but now I'm kind of at a loss. Now I could do, what was that? There's a vanilla block. I could do projectors, I guess. You could do a lot of things. I could put decoys there. It would always shoot at the Hammerhead Bridge, and then it would, like, take the decoys out. That would be kind of funny. So I have a crap ton of mods in here. I don't even know what I have in here. I just find new stuff and keep adding it, so I don't even know what I've got in here. I know half of this crap won't work, because it keeps giving me that whole, it has to be a large ship error. So, with that in mind, I'm not entirely sure what to put on there, but open to suggestions. If you guys look up and find a mod and go, oh, that would be perfect, great. If not, we could always go without it. It wouldn't actually hurt the ship design any, really, to miss those two little bubbles, because ultimately, I don't know that I've really stressed this enough, but it's inspired by a Star Destroyer, but it doesn't have to be an exact Star Destroyer. I mean, it just doesn't, so we can do whatever we want with it. Now, I will say, this episode was a little bit not entirely what I wanted to do with it. I spent a little more time recreating this over here than I wanted, but it was kind of to brief you guys on where we are here, but I'd also like to... I don't really think I have enough time at this point to get into a ship room build thing, type of thing, like let's build rooms. I am, as we're revisiting doors though, I will say I am kind of a fan of these two in different circumstances. I like... Okay, let me turn my lights off real quick. So I think in the right lighting, which is going to be a whole nother beast in and of itself because we moved to DirectX 11, I think it was actually during this build. So we're kind of going to have a whole nother mess on our hands with lighting than we were before. But I think these smoke glass doors will probably have the most, what's the word, environment, ambiance to them, like lighting wise. These are kind of gonna end up just being like blah. There's like, oh, there's a door here, I would have never known, which is sometimes cool in its own way, but I do think the smoke glass is probably gonna be our best bet. I must have come to that conclusion a while ago because all of these are set up that way. So that's interesting. So yeah, I think the next thing we're gonna do... Here's my plan. Let's take the rest of the time for this episode and go over kind of my plan. So the next part of the plan, moving forward... That is a pretty cool way to open the door though, let's be honest. I think the next phase of the build, if you will, we're moving into kind of the ending phases, I think. I hope, because I'd really like to be done with this and move on, actually, to be honest, but it's just, I don't spend a whole lot of time building off camera, so a lot of my episodes are me working through stuff. I think this room for cargo, pretty much done. Other than some decoratives, maybe some LCD panels, changing in lighting, things of that nature we could do. But I'm pretty sure we're kind of done with this. Other than some lighting changes, which I'm totally down for and open to. I don't know why that's there. I don't know, unless I just turned all these off because they were depressurizing everything. Maybe that was what it was. I don't remember. So I think this one's pretty much done until we get to detailing. So my next thing I think is going to be the React Room, which I may leave that name just for Dog Squad nostalgia, but the Reactor Room, for those of you that may not be familiar with it, if you're not, shame on you. I mean, it's totally fine. Totally fine. Anyways, sorry, I couldn't resist. So we need to kind of, I think this was me experimenting with different blocks, because I kind of wanted to use these. But to be honest, it's been so long since I revisited this, I don't really know what I was doing here. So let's scrap this next time and leave me some comments on good reactor setups or efficient ones or whatever. And I'll try and take that into account, and maybe we'll gut this and work on the reactor room. So the phases are going to be construction first. We're mostly wrapping up the hull. Mainly, I gotta figure out what we're doing out here, and then it's just gonna be fill the rest in with heavy block, and leave the rest for detail work. Detailing, I'm not gonna do yet. So it's pretty much get this shape ironed out, duplicate it on this side off camera, and just fill the rest in, and then we'll leave it that way until we end up working on some other stuff. So yeah, we're gonna work on building the reactor room. Now we might want to make this... that's an interesting question, actually, because I was just noticing we've got the gravity generator, like, up there, and that's not gonna fly, so we might want to put the gravity stuff, reactors, things like that, like make this the reactor utility room or something, I'm not sure. And then we have, I think this is gonna be the captain's quarters, if you will. This is going to be the medbay room, slash... possibly cryo room if we move this wall a little bit and set it up a little differently. And again, if you suggest build like, hey, you should put this in the go ahead and leave either the names of any specific mods that you think would be a good fit so I can look them up, or if you're feeling generous, include the links and I'll look up and see if I already have them, or If not, I'll add them. And then this, I'm thinking, is going to be CIC or weapons control or main... I don't want to say main operations because we're kind of making the bridge main operations, but like weapon control, maybe for controlling turrets if you want to remotely control them. And then we get to this, which I'm not sure what to use for, but we do have space. I'm not sure I would make it a full-blown, like, oh, crew quarter room or something like that. Maybe something that's expendable since it's in the nose. Perhaps some kind of radar antenna scanner place to have all of our antennas and beacons and things like that, maybe? Stored away, but accessible, something to that nature. Then, of course, we'll have our bridge access here, which will go up. I need to change some of the decorations, as you can see, because the hull shape is now running into where we had the layout for the ramp. So we'll have to do some detail work there and move that panel. We do have some extra space here that I wasn't actually counting on. To be honest, if we remove this layer, what am I getting here? Okay, so this is just heavy block on top because I was covering up the... Ooh, okay. This was just to cover up the hull. Ooh, that's interesting. Alright, let's do some demo work here real quick while we're discussing things. Because I didn't realize this was all up to here. 3 block high, which lets us... Or 4 block high, which lets us actually move around. So that's intriguing. We could do some stuff with this. We could put catwalks over this to not raise the floor level, but cover up the pipes if we wanted to. It's an interesting idea. I'm not sure how many, or how close to the edge of the hull I really want to get. Let's go like this. Let's just take it out to the edge there. Okay, and let's speed this up a little bit. I don't know why I always seem to forget that's an option. And again, if we want to like reinforce something, we can always replace some of that heavy block. And then this isn't really necessary here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, good. So that's cleaned. Let's grab you. Let's only take it to there, because I don't know if this is part of the hull or not. Oops, that can't go away. Okay, so that at least has to stay. At least with the current hull structure. If we change it or something, that'll be a little different story, but for now, that's gonna stay where it is. Okay. So... basically what I'd like to work on... There we go. That actually adds a lot more room than I expected to have on this level, actually. So we could put some stuff in here, too. We could actually make a whole nother room if we wanted to, if we can come up with a reason. I don't want to add excess clutter to the ship, but if we can come up with a reason for this, we could make use of it. And we have access to the conveyor system right here, so everything would still be all connected, which would be cool. So I want to do, and then of course we have our bridge to work on, which we have our main control panel, but it's still not very fancy. So there's that. So that's kind of the layout I'm thinking. So as far as order goes, it'll be construction of all of these rooms for functionality. Where I want blocks, make them useful, where I want them accessible, etc, etc, etc. Then, I'll probably do the rest of the hull off camera, because I think I've done enough hull building that everyone's probably tired of it. If not, let me know, I don't care. But I'll probably do most of it off camera. We'll work on starting building the rooms based on suggestions of layouts. We're going to start with the reactor to get our power system squared away, then move to medical, because that's important, then move to crew quarters. Actually, no. We'll do medical, then CIC and antenna room, then do crew quarters, because really that's just fancy. You could just stick a bed there and be done. And then we'll do the bridge. And after that point, all of the function is there except for weapons. We'll have to do weapons at some point. Yeah, that's a whole nother ballgame. So we'll do weapons. Then, before we kind of wrap up the construction part, I want to actually load in a planet and take the ship down to the planet and see how it handles in atmosphere, because I need to see if these EM thrusters will, or void thrusters, or whatever they were called. Which small void thrusters. Alright, so we need to see if those will hold up in planetary atmosphere, and if not, if we need to add atmosphere thrusters and where, and blah 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 blah. Once we get all that squared away, the last step will be detail work. It'll be adding screens and potted plants and, you know, just random crap. And lighting, it will be kind of included in detail work and stuff like that. So all that kind of crap. And then we'll pretty much be done. I do want to plug in my OS system to the ship just for usability. I don't know if I will work on that anymore and try and refine it in the meantime. I don't think I will, just because I don't really seem to have the time on my hands to work on it at the moment. But then we'll be done. So that's kind of my roadmap for this build, and I'm hoping we're at least halfway to 3/4 of the way done, and the rest will just be kind of little... Like, we might even be... If we have a good plan and it works out well, we might be able to do like 2 rooms, like the reactor, first aid, and then CIC antenna, and then captain's quarters and bridge, you know, stuff like that. So it should only be a few more episodes for that stuff, and in the meantime, while I'm filming those, I can work on the hull once I get some feedback from you guys on ideas for shapes and if you like where it's going. So it shouldn't actually take that long to get through that part, and then we've got to do weapon placement and detail and atmosphere tests and things of that nature, and we'll be close to wrapping up. So I know this episode was a little bit longer, and it's a lot of me ranting, and we're not really building a whole lot and doing whatever, but I just wanted to go over where we're at with the design, and kind of go over my plan on where I'd like to go with it from here. So let me know what you guys think about all that good stuff. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.